And now we're going to get into our t-tests for the spring versus summer data. So this is going to tell us whether or not spring and summer leaves differ in length based on our measurements from class. And here is where we're getting the p-value, which is going to be necessary for this table here. So one thing I want to note, it's not super obvious just looking at it here in this line, but this is saying that this number here is being raised. This e is exponent, and this is negative 7.07. So basically, it's a really, really, really tiny number that we're going to have inserted in our writing assignment. And in order to answer this question about whether or not it is significantly different, I will have you refer to this stats help document, particularly page 5, where it's talking about interpreting. So any value that is greater than 0.05 is not significant, and any value less than 0.05 is significant. So here, this number is very, very small. That means it is significant. So you'll go ahead and run these lines and add them to your writing assignment document here in this table. And now we can move on to importing the additional data set. All right, so hopefully you have downloaded the fall leaf data CSV into your folder. And when you run this line, we'll get a new data frame called fall data. Here we can see the first 6 rows in our data frame. And here we're going to join the data frames. They have the same column names, so they combine with no problem. Leaves is our class data. Fall data is the new data that we're importing. So now we have this all seasons data frame, and it has summer, spring, and fall. So before continuing, go ahead and open the writing assignment document and answer questions 1 through 3. So that is just writing up a title, writing the study questions, which again, they are mentioned in the stats activity file. Do leaves produced in spring in differing seasons vary in size? And does the insect foraging intensity differ between seasons? So write that up in one sentence. And then your hypotheses. The null hypothesis is no effect. So you're basically saying there is no difference in the leaf size or the number of holes in each leaf, regardless of the season. And here you are just writing up what you expect to see as far as the leaf length goes. and the whole abundance and the whole density. So my example says largest in fall because, but you might not think that. Write whatever you think we're going to see. And once you've answered questions 1 through 3, go ahead and continue on with the ANOVAs. So now that we're comparing more than 2 groups, we're going to do a different kind of statistical test. The analysis of variance is what we use when we're comparing more than 2 groups, oftentimes. So go ahead and run these lines. And this PR line right here, that is our p-value. And once we have all 3 of these ANOVAs done, you're going to put them in the writing assignment table down here. And again, I would suggest referencing this help guide for determining whether or not your values are significant. And now we're going to get onto graphing. So before we are able to graph anything, we need to make sure we have these, well, this package ggplot2 installed. You can restart it or not. It probably won't make a difference. It should reload all of your data frames. Then go ahead and load it with the library function. And this will create a box plot. Length by season. And in order to export this image so that you can insert it into the writing assignment, go ahead and do export here, save as image. I would suggest changing the file name to length by season and save. And it should save into the folder that you have specified. And now we're going to create some other box plots for number of holes. So here we see X is the season. Here, X is the season. And now instead of length for the y-axis, we're going to have number of holes. And again, save that. And now in order to create this third graph, again, keeping the x-axis the same, but changing the y-axis to hole density. Great. Now, once you export that, you will have all of the material you need to complete the writing assignment.